project's finally really starting to take hold here. We started the framing a couple days ago. We had just met with George Keithan over there at CES to finalize some things about the building envelope and some of the renewables. And now let's keep that same thought process going, and we got to find out about the HVAC system. Very critical in this project here that we have the exact sizing and the right equipment picked, and we're going to have the room to frame it out and make sure that everybody's on the same page. So today we're going to meet with Silveiro Mechanical and just give us some background and some ideas there, what he would suggest for a mechanical system on the project. So join us. All right.
Good to see you.
Hey, I appreciate taking the time out to see me, and we could talk about the project and what your ideas or what you figure would be good for it.
Absolutely. I took your blueprints and I did a little heat load so we can kind of talk a little numbers with you if you want to.
What do you got? Yeah, I know you're a super resource for doing different kinds of heating and mechanical system, and I had sent you the print electronic. I don't know if you were able to grab a hold of that and take a look at it.
Absolutely, and actually it's right here. I was looking at it the other day.
Oh, good.
And reason why I had you send it to me electronically is because I do two things right off the bat. Before I like to get a feel of what the house looks like. I also copy the print on the computer through the PDF and do a heat loss, heat gain calculation, which
Isn't
I
that
have.
the first step before anything?
It actually is. That way there, we can get to know each other a little bit more. Plus, I can talk a little more intelligently with you about, what kinds of systems are available, opposed to what the heat load and heat gain shows. Heat load calculations are a code, first of all, so you have to have one. And doing the math is just, math doesn't lie. As long as the input is correct and everything, I take what I get out of a computer, I look at your print, we talk, and then I design it around that. Is this perfect? No. Right. But this is a strong base. And when we start talking about where your windows are in the house and your shading and your furniture and what types of systems, which we're going to get into, this helps out immensely. So, and the heat loss calculation shows everything. It shows windows. We on your print, we ask you for window U value, R values of all your insulation. The input of all that is very important. And I got 13 pages of all kinds of goodies here, you know what I mean?
Right.
But the most important page for us is, to talk is, what it comes down to is what you need per room for BTUs. Okay. Right. And that's what these load sheets.
Summary sheet there on the bottom.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
And your house right now, as it stands, with everything you told me, is around 37,000 BTUs, give or take a few, for heating, and 29,000 for cooling, which is a great ratio. All right, as an HVAC guy, okay, we want to see numbers that in that proportion like that. When you see your cooling number higher than your heating number, then there's going to be a design system here that's going to just be in effect for some reason. You got the perfect scenario right here for any type of HVAC system.
I tried to get a lot of glass, but of that glass on the south side, so they
yes, you did.
Offset that by and overhangs and other stuff too.
It worked out. I'll tell you, it worked. This is the perfect scenario.
Oh, okay.
We're about 900 heating hours a year and 200 cooling hours.
Right.
So that's our ratio in New England here. Give or take a day or two. But so you basically, your house, I can heat and cool your house with a 3-ton geo machine or a 3-ton air handler with a 70,000 BTU boiler. I'm just throwing things at you, and we're going to talk about all these scenarios and what's going to be best for you. But there's nothing we can't do here that stands out as something like, oh, we got to watch out for this or that. So you're in great shape as far as that goes.
Really, I want to throw this back at you and say, hey, if this was your house or your project or how you live, how would you go at it? What kind of system would you look for in something like this?
That's awesome, because I get that question asked to me all the time. And how you handle that is a lot of different ways, because you can look at heating and cooling as just heating and cooling. All I want to do is make sure my house is 68 and 72. I don't care about air quality, health quality, anything like that. So there's that type of system. Right. And then there's your health quality systems, where we put in an air system with an air cleaner and an air purifier and just having constant air all 24/7, which is a great system, And then there's just bells and whistles that I could go on forever that probably sometimes half the time are not necessary. So, and then, you know, we got to talk about the budget too. You know, there's always a budget involved in everything.
Yes,
so,
yes.
so if this was my house, okay, and I had your house and that was mine, for instance, okay, I love the insulation values that you're doing and the tightness of the house. So, you know, right off the bat, you know, it's a great house for geothermal. Okay, so geothermal as a source would be, you know, an A+. I rate my clients that come into me, you know, in 3 different categories for geothermal. It's a great job for geothermal. It's an okay job for geothermal. We're going to the next subject for geothermal because it's just not going to be worth your money. So you're definitely in this category here, for sure. But then there's conventional systems out today that are very high end. And when I say high end, meaning high efficient in the 95, 96 percentile of efficiency that are, you know, pretty good. So, you know, what we have to really do is kind of look at the cost of both of these types of systems and figure out what we're doing. If we're doing radiant heat, if we're going to radiant heat with some air, if we're going to do all air, if we're going to, you know, go on down the line and figure out cost-wise what's going to be the best for your dollar. And over a 20-year period, how much is that, you know, going to save you?
Well, that's good information. You know, it's really. So the other thing is, you know, people following along or anything. Is there any pitfalls or anything somebody should look out for? You know, when they're doing an eco-friendly home. I don't want to be on the negative, but really on the positive. Education. Where should they go, or what should they think of when you know getting involved in a project like this?
Well, you know, that's a great question. You know, you got to make sure first of all, whoever you're hiring, you know, has somewhat knowledge of what they're doing. There's some real good mechanics out there, and there's, you know, a lot of different systems. Everyone has their own, you know, their own equipment. My equipment's the best. You know, my equipment's the best. See, me personally, I can make any equipment work, you know, as long as I can develop it around what you want. So, you know, make sure when you're, you know, if you're choosing someone to, you know, that they listen to you, okay, and they ask the right questions. You know, what types, you know, what's your expectations of the house? You know, do you want? Are you worried about, you know, health quality issues versus just heating and cooling? You know, stuff like that, and you know, and just make sure you're very comfortable with people. You know, if you're not comfortable with the person doing the work for you on a first or second meeting, it's not going to be any different 6 months down the line when you're calling them, trying to get them to come back and put that last grill in when they're not going to show up to do that, things like that. So, you know, just want to make sure that that they're going to be able to take care of you afterwards, you know, and find some kind of track record on that. Make sure they can do some service for you. And if they're not a service company, to make sure that they have someone in line that follows them and knows their systems and can service to them as well, you know, when the heating's gone. Because, you know, with us, we want to be with that system forever. I don't want anyone touching my systems. Well,
awesome, Tony. That was a lot of information that we were able to condense down here, you know, for people out there listening, and myself too, to talk about all these different systems and what goes on. And, you know, I really look forward to seeing you again. So again, thank you for your time.
All right,
and,
thank you very much, man.
Follow up with that.
Looking forward to working with you.
All right.
Have a good day.
Thank you. So that was awesome. You know, we learned a lot. We saw some neat applications there. You kind of talked about the different kind of heat sources or way to do stuff. So stay tuned. The next episode, we're actually going to go over to the job site. We're going to meet with the framer over there. We're going to see how it's progressing and kind of get a feel for starting to take shape. I'm really excited.